Good morning. We'll call the Wednesday morning, November 10th meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee to order. Start with roll call.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Lear?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Present.
Ms. Peters? Ms. Parker?
Present.
Mr. Fairfield?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Swanson? Mr. Kirkstrom?
Present.
Mr. Hunter? Mr. Collins? Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Gowler?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Seroy? We have a quorum?
Okay, as everybody knows, there's a tax sale in here, and I guess we sort of have to fast track the meeting this morning because it's at 9 o'clock. They thought we were supposed to be in the EOC building. So anything that you got directly for a department head, maybe you should talk with them afterwards, or whatever we can do to speed this whole meeting up and that then. Okay, I have not received anything for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Any public comment? Approval of minutes from October 13th, 2021. Take a motion, Mr. Fairfield, second by Mr. Kirkstra. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I don't see the chief judge. Up next is Circuit Clerk's Office, Ms. Cianci. In your package, you have a copy of the monthly report. Take a motion to approve by Mr. Eckhoff, second by Mr. Long. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning. So for my monthly reports, I have the Harris & Harris open inventory analysis. We sent so far this year 10,484 cases. Well, or up to the last 5 years, I'm sorry. So 1,900 we sent off this year. And then with the local debt recovery program and the state's attorney's court report, you can see that there's been definite drops. And a lot of that is due to people not needing to pay off their tickets to get the releases to get their licenses back. So it's working in a negative fashion for us. We don't have a, some kind of a carrot to encourage people to pay their tickets off now. So things are slowing up. However, from January to October, we're still ahead this year than even we were last year, which I find pretty interesting. So, and the same with the state's attorney's office. We're still quite a bit ahead in 21 than we were for the whole total of 2020. So, and even 2019. So we're doing well. People are paying, but it's definitely slowed up quite a bit. And then my other report that you guys have, I didn't print one of those off for myself this morning. The big, this one.
This one?
No, this one.
Okay.
The disbursement, because that's all the funds that we disperse to every month. So there's 274.
Right. 274, 794, 46.
Yeah. So that's really the official report that you guys approve.
Any questions or comments on the reports? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, so the circuit clerk fee ordinance, we kept getting modifications and modifications and modifications till the end of October. So I didn't send it off to the state's attorney's office until, I don't know, last week. It's a huge thing to go through, so it's not ready today. I will work with the state's attorney's office and make sure that it's either available for the executive committee or even finance. It has to do with money. What it is that I'm asking, all of the case categories that we have on the books right now this ordinance gives us the permission to collect the fees. Well, now they've added 13 different categories, and so for us to be allowed to collect money for those categories, I need to have it on the ordinance. So there's nothing really changing other than the category types that we would need to collect money for. so as soon as that gets done, it's just that the criminal, they've divided out domestic violence and a few other things to make their own case category now, and we need to be able to put all that together and collect that money.
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question. Are those fees set by state statute or local ordinance?
State statute.
Okay.
It's the Criminal Traffic Assessment Act that we went through in 2019. That's what sets the whole schedule. So in the criminal world, there's 13 or 14 different schedules that have to be managed and adjusted through each of those case categories. So it's a complicated project.
Right.
You know,
So my point was that we can't get more out of those fees.
Correct.
Because they took all the other fees away from us. Does
Correct.
That make, so that was why the question was there.
Yeah.
Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So it's a wash?
As far as yeah, I mean, we're not going to be making more money off of it. Correct. It's going, so they want to be able to get better reports so they know more about domestic violence cases. So they're going to have their own category, and it'll be the misdemeanor domestic violence and evictions and foreclosures and things like that. They're going to have their own case category so that then the Supreme Court can get more reports and do more statistics, basically, so they know what's going on in a more fine-tuned, detailed information for, you know, what the courts are doing.
So you're ready to handle all the evictions, which you're gonna...
We got 75 last week. So I mean, we're getting hit really hard with all those right now.
Are you ready?
Well, we're doing the best we can, yeah. I mean, we're getting them into court, and the court, you know, Judge Nicholson is doing those, and it's a very, very busy court right now. So.
Anything else for Ms. Yancey?
Okay, well then I just wanted to real quick too. I sent a chart of the court calendars just so you can see. In 2021 so far, these cases are scheduled, so whether they went to court or they were rescheduled, it meant that somebody had to enter that information into the computer. So far this year we're at 100,000 cases that have gone to court. In 2020 at this time we had 93,000 cases that we had to do something with, even though part of that, last year we were fine with COVID. The beginning of this year. So last year where there was all the COVID cases that we had to keep changing and continuing. So like in Judge Cunnington's courtroom, they managed 27,000 cases, and in Judge Dickinson's courtroom it was 31,000 in 2020, and that was when he was still in traffic. So that's where all of our backlog is, you know, from processing the continuances and moving them, and you can see the numbers. Everything in yellow is because those judges were not in yet. So like Judge Claudio, her first day was in August. Judge Gertz, we still had cases that we had to move, so that's why those 2 months are highlighted in yellow. And the same with Judge Kick.
But they're not highlighted on our.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you guys.
They're
Oh, okay. I thought you had them on your
on the iPad.
Yeah. Sorry. So anyway, it was just a little bit of information to show. I was in with Chairman Wheeler, and so what I did, it takes a lot of work to get these reports generated. So I've done 21 and 20, and then I did 2019, and then I jumped all the way down to 2015. So as I find time, I can add to that and fill in some other years. I'd like to go back to the years when we just had 9 judges rather than 10 and see what the differences are there too. So that's all I have for today.
Questions or comments?
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is State's Attorney, Mr. Rowe. In your package you have a copy of his grand jury report and a copy of the grand jury statistics report. Take a motion to combine and approve. Mr. Lear, second by Mr. Goller. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. You can see from the report we're up to 827 for the year, 34 true bills returned by the grand jury. Good news is, this was the last grand jury where we had anything that was sort of backlogged that we were struggling to get on a grand jury call. So earlier this year, we started doing a full-day grand jury instead of just afternoons, so we could fit more cases in. So it took a while, but we're finally caught up with that. So going forward, you should start seeing, more around 30 to 40 cases instead of 50 or more. So it feels definitely good to get caught up with that.
Questions for Mr. Rowe?
Just a quick program update. The
Let me get I've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. No, go ahead now.
the Riverside program, we're providing counseling to youth. That's underway. They're in the space. Tom has been, and his staff have been just great accommodating that, helping her get settled, teaching her how to call out on the phone. There's a few things we've still got to get worked out, but my understanding is she's already got kids scheduled to come in and see her assessments to perform. So it was great to kind of hit the ground running with that.
That's good. Questions on that?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Mr. Pennewick, Public Defender's Office. You have a copy of Mr. Pennewick's monthly report in. Take a motion to approve by Mr. Carrico, second by Mr. Fairfield. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning.
Comments on your report, sir?
Just very briefly, I know I was not here last month, but I know someone requested that we have running totals comparing last month and the current month, or I guess the month before the last month, I suppose. So we have a handwritten on the right what the stats were back in September. I know people always talk about the traffic cases, and they're still growing. That's actually, well, yeah, they went up a little bit this month. Again, I'm still looking for someone, given the COVID money that's out there. I'm hoping to have something, in place, hopefully in the next month or so, as far as getting someone down there and assisting and helping that go. I did check out of the 4,000 cases, there's approximately 1,000 defendants. So basically, each client has 4 cases, and I mean that is what it is. But I think it's an interesting, not caveat, but just basically not a fun fact. That's not what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. So I find it ironic that the traffic's kind of run with the only 100 above the felonies. So if you look at it that way, it's not that many, but obviously 4,000 is a huge number. So other than that, I have nothing else to add, but I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Questions on the report? We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And
Thank you.
Oh,
Very good.
fast tracking. Up next, probation, Mr. Latham. In your package, you have a copy of Mr. Latham's monthly report. Take a motion to approve by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Kirkstra.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just on the report itself, you can see we have 22 individuals on some sort of electronic monitoring. We had 29, almost 3,000 contacts last month. I think we'll be well close to 35,000 contacts year end. So it's pretty good. We got it up from the COVID, time. It's increasing. You can see we have 8 juveniles in custody of River Valley. That's up a hair. But a lot of that's there's several juveniles that are in custody that need to be in custody that were causing a lot of issues, more specifically in the city of Kankakee for a while now. So the numbers are up, but I'm glad they're in custody. They were causing a lot of issues, a lot of serious issues. So that's all on the report.
Anything else or questions for Mr. Latham on his report? Mr. Hunter.
I know you can't thank you, Mr. Chairman, and maybe this could have been directed more to Jim. Those badasses that you were referring to, the Person twins, who stole, 3 cars. They found, and they're juveniles, they had caught them with guns. And I've been told that...
I'm sorry, you know what,
Yeah.
because those are juvenile matters,
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
those can't be discussed.
Yeah, leave the names. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Anything else on the report? Did I vote on that?
No, well, we have the first and second.
Okay, we have a motion first and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. What else for us, Tom?
Just real quick, I wanted to give you a pretrial update every month. There's really nothing to update. I had a Zoom call with the judge who's in charge of pretrial for the state now yesterday, and a couple other people. I made it clear to them our issues with our inability to fill those positions because the funding's not going to be there for a while, and the issue of monitoring these people when we're down 4 to 6 positions. There's really no answers given, but I'm hoping we started the conversation and we can get somewhere with this because it's a big concern for our department how we're going to watch these people. So, but we're having those conversations, so there was nothing new, but I'll again update you every month on that. And the only other thing is drug court program was recertified, which is a very involved process that involves most of the departments in here. It went really well. In fact, AOIC reached out to me and wanted to use our drug court program as a model throughout the state and to mentor any other counties having issues getting certified and getting it up running the right way. So I thought that was a great compliment to our drug court. And it goes to everybody in here, almost every department. So unless anybody has any questions for me.
Questions for Mr. Latham? Thank you.
All right.
Up next, the sheriff. In your package, you have a copy of the sheriff's monthly report. Take a motion to approve. Mr. Long, second by Mr. Goller. Good morning, Sheriff.
Morning. Morning, everybody. So, nothing really unique on the monthly report. The numbers are what they are. Actually, we are, over the last month, we are increasing our out-of-county numbers, including ICE, which is somewhat ironic since December 31st is the drop-dead date that the legislature has determined that we're not capable of housing ICE detainees like the other 50 states or 49 states, but they continue to send them to us. We also have another ICE inspection, which we have basically for a year, and they're coming next week. The ODO, or the Office of Detention Oversight, which we don't have a problem with. They can come whenever they want and check it out. It makes us no difference. So we're ready for that. One added column, if you will, on the report, unfortunately, just for your information, is the number of homicides in the county this year. Right now we're at 17. We're not quite through the year. Last year, all year, we had 9. So that number has basically doubled. Those aren't all in the county, obviously, but they are kind of countywide. So, questions on the report?
Any questions on the report? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Declaring equipment surplus.
Yeah, surplus equipment. So these are basically electric boxes. They're just metal boxes that conduit and wiring ran through it. They were initially installed when we built the administration building in 2006. We have replaced those boxes for whatever reason, and they are basically just metal boxes. I'm assuming that we'll have maintenance bring them to Belson's or somewhere and scrap them, and at least get some money for them, because they're not, I don't know that they can be used.
Take a motion, Mr. Long, second by Mr. Fairfield. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So I think the next one is listed as an ARPA request. It could be ARPA or it could be lost revenue. I'm not sure what the pleasure is. I brought this to the committee originally when we were talking about our needs. And what this is a dual view transmission X-ray full body scanner. And what that does, I mean, it's more, it's better than what they're doing at the airport, let's put it that way. And I think I gave you the cost at that time of about $600,000, because that's what we were looking at way back in the day, because we were looking at literally those airport scanner type of machines. The total cost on this one is $166,250. It is I have a sole source letter from the company. I have another bid for another machine. That's about $140,000. This one is $166,000. It's got an additional screen on it, and it actually gets basically your torso area, which the other one does not. So I would request that, if that's possible, to just move it to finance or tell me no.
Pleasure of the committee. Mr. Snipes.
This is a safety issue that's germane to the community as you're coming into the courthouse.
No, this would be at the jail.
Or at the jail?
Yeah, this is the jail. Yeah, we wouldn't get that invasive at the courthouse.
Oh, okay. So even at the jail, people would have to pass through it. So for the safety of...
So when a new arrest comes in, I mean, our correctional officers are literally hands-on patting these individuals down. But as we all know, a pat down, well, yeah, COVID is obviously an issue. I mean, it wouldn't eliminate totally the pat downs, but, you know, unfortunately, there are a lot of hiding places on the body that sometimes a pat down doesn't get to.
So a great safety issue.
Yes, it's a safety issue for our staff.
Yeah, I see no reason why we shouldn't move it to the finance, especially when we had the first price at 600-something thousand. That's reduced more than 2/3. So I see no reason to not move it on to the finance. So I will make a motion that we move it to the finance.
Okay, a second on that motion, Mr. Goller.
Thank you.
All in favor? Oh, Mr. Wheeler.
Just a note, finance has already approved the idea of having this, and it was put on the future projects list. So we'd be just updating the price at that point. So it's already gone through finance as far as the concept goes. Now the bidding process had to happen, and then ranking and priorities.
Yep.
So that's why I thought, you know, just mention it.
Okay.
Recommend to finance again that it be prioritized if that's what you're looking at.
Right. Thank you.
Do we need a roll call vote on that when we come to it?
Because we're just recommending.
Okay, Mr. Hunter.
No DOJ, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
No DOJ funding possibilities or not?
Not at this point. Not at this point. And Amy looks every day for funding.
Twice a day.
Yeah, right.
Okay, excuse me. We have a motion and a second to move this to finance. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. ARPA request for a Gray Kelly mobile phone forensics.
Yeah, great key. So mobile phones are vital in a lot of investigations. Somebody gets arrested, or even a death, a homicide, whatever. It's that electronic or that forensic tracking that is done that we all have on our phones. If you as what we call dump these phones into this system, you can find phone calls, texts that may assist police agencies in their investigation. Right now we have a machine that's called Celebrate. And Celebrate, when we first got it a few years ago, it was fantastic. We did a lot of work in taking the phones and doing that cell phone dump, as we call it, and getting information. Problem with Celebrate right now is they have not been able to keep up with the technology. So if you have say you have an iPhone 6 or even a 7, Celebrate's still pretty good, but it hasn't kept up with the technology. Well, right now, we're in, 8, 13,
13.
whatever, yeah.
13, yeah.
So anybody that comes in with a relatively newer phone, Celebrate doesn't really benefit us. Gray Key does. Problem with Gray Key, although we did pay an annual fee with Celebrate, but it was not what Gray Key is charging. So Gray Key charges $9,995 a year. And obviously for 3 years, we all know that one of the things that we look at is what happens after year 3. Well, what we did is we reached out to the bigger police agencies, Kankakee City, Bradley, Bourbonnais, Manteno, and KMEG, and said, if we were to get this approved and if we were able to do this, that after year 3, if those agencies could share the cost, would they be interested? And every one of them have said they are. So there is somewhat of a plan going forward after that 3rd year to help offset the cost of, what would continue with. And we still don't know in 3 years what the technology brings, what if there is a better system out there, if the cost is even less. So we don't know that. We would still have the option after year 3 to just say, well, no, we're not going to do it either if the price went up or it's not working as we want it to. So, but we would really like to, it would really benefit not only the sheriff's office, but it would benefit all the police agencies in the county.
Is there an initial fee for the purchase or just?
No, it's $9,000. It's $9,995 a year.
Questions? This is not on your initial.
It is not.
So we would need a motion to move this to finance also. Mr. Smith and Mr. Snipes. Discussion, anybody?
Bless you.
You have a motion to move it forward to finance. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Animal control update.
Animal control update. Our numbers are fluctuating. One day we'll be full of dogs and cats. The animal control director and her staff work with local rescues to get these animals to the rescues where they can then get them adopted. So that's always an ongoing problem. I mean, it's obviously worsened since we've I guess, I'm not quite sure if you want to call it open back up, but I guess people are saying we're open back up. So when people were home, obviously they were caring for their pets. Now that everybody's out and about now, all of a sudden, our kennel's full.
Questions or comments on that?
I have one last thing, and it's Mr. Lear actually requested this. For those that didn't attend the State of the County, this was a 31-page or 31 slide PowerPoint that I was supposed to get done in 8 minutes, and I, according to the timekeeper, didn't do very well. I did narrow this down and pulled some slides. I will not keep you here for 8 minutes. We'll go through this fairly quickly, but I think it's important for some to know, really what's going on with our department and what the future holds. So this is a 39-year-old officer who's a little stressed. Our guys fortunately don't look like that, but just a little humor. Case reports, we've talked about these case reports and the most troubling and the most the one thing that happens a lot are domestic calls, and obviously these numbers bear that out. We are working. We've got the counseling stuff set up in the jail as well, as we've talked to you about, which is at no cost to the county, and we are beginning that process as well, with the idea that these people don't come back because they were involved in a domestic dispute. So, and then this map shows all the case reports that we take all across the county, so you can see that it's not isolated to one particular area. it is definitely countywide. Accidents, if you look at the bottom two slides, you'll see where the accidents are in the county and what we're responding to. Obviously, this software allows us to focus on certain areas that, you know, seem to be problematic for us. Shots fired calls, again, they're not isolated to one particular area. Some areas, the shots fired calls happen more than others, but it is certainly a countywide issue. Civil process. This is the slide that allows me to tell you that a lot of times as county sheriff's deputies, we get criticized for being in the city of Kankakee or Bradley or Bourbonnais, and everybody's saying, why is the sheriff in the city of Kankakee? Well, if you look at that map, that's where we're serving papers. And no other police agency in the county serves papers. So that's why you see squad cars in municipalities. I mean, I think it's just a good slide to show you why, because I'm sure I've heard it, I'm sure other people have heard it. You know, why is the county not out in the county? That's why, because we're serving papers. Warrants issued, you know, this is an ongoing issue for us, and it's going to get worse after January of 2023 with cashless bail. For people not showing up to court, you can see that the majority of the warrants that were issued are failure to appears. They just decide not to show up to court, and that backlogs everything. This is the couch potato, who's obviously the keyboard warrior, who's at home telling us how much better they can do it than the police do. Our bookings, our average length of stay is 21.9 days. These are local inmates. You can see that we booked in 3,206 people, and this was the time frame of September of 2020 to August of 2021. But you see the total inmates are about 700 less, which means that some individuals get booked in the jail more than others, multiple times, I should say. All agency bookings, these are the bookings by month. ICE detainees that are booked, you can see we were in kind of a lull in December, January, and February. And that was really back in December, January, and February was really when we had the COVID issue going on in the jail, and we just said we can't take people from out of county at this point because of some COVID things we got going. So, but those numbers are picking up, and this goes through August. I can tell you that in September and October, those numbers have increased. These are U.S. Marshals that are booked into our facility for that same time period. Our average daily population, you can see if you look at the yellow bar is the local average daily population, and the green bar is the out-of-county average daily population. You can see over the course of the year that kind of fluctuates with, sometimes we have a few more locals than we do out-of-county, sometimes we have more out-of-county than locals. So it's almost kind of been a 50-50 split over the last couple of years. Square miles patrolled by the agencies. So if you look on here, our county is approximately 680 square miles. When you factor in the square miles of all the municipalities that have police, we end up still patrolling 636 square miles of the county. Compared to, I mean, the highest square mile is the city of Kankakee. County residents, unincorporated residents make up the largest population in the county, bigger than the city of Kankakee, approximately 34,000 people, as opposed to 25, 26, 27,000 in the city, depending on which census number you're looking at. And that's the next slide, the constituents served. We're right around 34,000. If you look at the bottom number, that total number is last year's number. It is not the accurate census number because we didn't have it when we put this together. So that number is about 107,000, I believe, give or take. I don't have to really go over a whole lot of 3653. You guys have seen and heard all that. The trailer bill that was passed did move some things back to the following year. Some of the things that that we were certainly unable to get to, like some of the training things that they're requiring and some of the other things, they have moved that back. So you've got some things that are going to come into play January of 2022 that we're ready for. It's never too early to start training our guys with power rings. And then January of 2023 is when we start cashless bail. And I mentioned earlier about the people who don't show up once they get arrested and then released without posting any money. As it is now, when that happens, the court has the discretion to issue a warrant. After the implementation of cashless bail, somebody doesn't show up, the sheriff is now going to be required to serve those individuals a rule to show cause at no cost to whoever misses court, just a cost to us and the law-abiding taxpayers. And we have to serve them, notifying them they missed their court. I think it's a rule to show cause. Jim, is that accurate? And then if they miss that court date on the rule to show cause, then they can issue a warrant. So now you've got all these departments, clerks, state's attorney, public defender, everybody who does all this work for these individuals doing twice the work. But
that's funded through the state. Oh, never mind.
Mr. S, you're beginning to worry me. You know, this slide is a little bit interesting. There's 18,000 police agencies in the United States. And according to the Police Executive Research Forum, officer resignations were up 18% in the first half of 2021 compared to the same period in 2020. We're losing police officers because of the war on police. There have been 19 sheriffs in Illinois that have quit early or retired since 3653 passed, and another 20 plus sheriffs have already indicated they are not running for re-election in 2022. That's 40 sheriffs out of 102 who will be out of law enforcement by December 1st of 2022. That's a third of the sheriffs in Illinois. And lastly, Warrant Wednesday. The capture rate on Warrant Wednesday just astounds me. There were our capture rate on individuals who are on Warrant Wednesday is 87%. Of the 1,430 people who've been placed on Warrant Wednesday, 1,240 of them have been captured. We still have 190 who are outstanding. And police officer's best day, stopping a Dunkin' Donuts truck. So that was a much scaled down version, but I think valuable information, especially the part about, you know, why we're in the municipalities and the areas that we do patrol on a daily basis. So that's all I got.
Questions or comments? Mr. Lear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff, I'd be curious, is there a reason that county deputies are the only ones that serve the civil processes? What's the rationale, do you know?
It's the law. I don't know. It's been that way forever. I mean, that's, you know, the sheriff, I mean, technically the sheriff has three functions. Serve papers, court security, and the jail. There's nothing that says we have to patrol. There's nothing that says the city of Kankakee has to patrol in the statute. But we do it because we want to keep our community safe. So those three functions are statutorily required for the sheriff.
Mr. Snipes.
Just a question. Given the December 31st date, and given the fact that you stated that the legislators have passed some type of statute that kind of prohibits you all from supposedly taking, is that statute directive or mandatory? Because it appears as if Homeland Security either haven't read it or feels as though
they've read it.
Yeah.
They know it's there.
Right. So my thing is they're sending more, are they saying we're sending more and we'll decide after December 31st to send them somewhere else? Or do they feel that because of Homeland Security, it may be an opportunity to I don't say preempt the state, but to kind of override it and say there's a state of an emergency, et cetera, et cetera?
I doubt it, Mr. Snipes, and I there is right now in the Department of DHS knows that McHenry County and Kankakee are involved in a court proceeding right now, trying to get a TRO or temporary restraining order, so that this can go to court to find out if what the legislature did is legal. So I think that the one thing that we said is ICE will not wait till December 31st to start moving detainees to other states, and that's what's going to happen. And we've said this before, and but these NGOs, as they call them, the non-governmental organizations that are basically running ICE, are the ones that are saying, well, these people should be released. They shouldn't be transferred to other places. Well, that's not my decision. That's an ICE decision. So, but that's where we're at right now. The NGOs or those who are running ICE or part of running ICE are saying that these individuals get released by December 31st. And ICE is saying, no, they're going to be moved. But ICE will not wait till December 31st and say, we're moving everybody. They'll start moving them periodically depending on what happens in court.
Okay, so that brings up the question that then generally if they're in Illinois, they generally go down to the Illinois courts. So would they have to go to other states and then be transported to Illinois?
They do a lot by video. I mean, we do a lot by video even from here to Chicago. So they would continue to do that by video. So I don't know that that's necessarily a big issue.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Long.
There was a mention of massive retirements and leaving police departments. What's going on with the qualified immunity? Is there more detail to that?
Right now, statewide, it's really kind of off the table. I know there's still some push at the federal level, but I right now it's kind of quieted itself.
Mr. Carrico.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff, are you familiar with any neighborhood watch programs in areas where you normally have to serve? And if it is, yes, how do you feel? What's your opinion about neighborhood watch programs?
Well, I mean, I think neighborhood watch programs have certain benefits that, but one of the problems with neighborhood watch programs that's problematic with anything is sometimes people are afraid to call the police on their neighbor. I'd certainly be in favor of them. I mean, it only helps us because we can't be everywhere. So yeah.
So are you familiar with any neighborhood watch programs in the areas that you serve?
I don't know if we have any in town. I mean, I think some neighborhoods have some.
Yeah,
and I think there's a couple signs posted.
Right.
But nothing that is really affiliated with us.
Okay, the reason I brought that up, because I know locally, a few years back, I started one in Quail Hollow and Old Farm, and it's very successful. We have a very, very nice Facebook page, and as a matter of fact, it just helps a lot with the animals and stuff like that, because every time they see a dog that is just open over there, that they just post it, and immediately somebody will see and get the owner and get the dog, so avoiding or preventing the the animal control to come and things like that.
And it prevents the people from having to pay a fine and everything else. So that's good.
So you're not familiar with anything on the areas that
nothing that we have countywide. I know there's some in I think the city of Kankakee has a couple. I think Bradley has a few. Bourbonnais may have some. There's a limited number of neighborhoods in the incorporated areas. I mean, there's certainly neighborhoods and there's subdivisions, but nothing that we're aware of officially.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hunter.
Yeah. We have a meeting today at noon, NAACP, and
we do.
Yeah, I think don't we? I think we do.
Okay.
And I understand that, and I learned something the other day. I know that the 10 shared principles is incorporated in the training.
Yes.
Down in, what was that, Springfield and Champaign?
Champaign, yeah.
Champaign.
Police Training Institute.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. You know, we're ahead of the game in terms of 102 counties in
No doubt about
in
it.
the state, and our particular relationship, meaning NAACP and law enforcement in the county, as you know, in some regards, is probably the model. What do you think about? And I like this proposal that, you know, all elected officials go through some kind of citizen police academy, because a lot of elected officials, and I know Kankakee City, it's a catastrophe in terms of them understanding what you guys do. I was a part of the first Citizen Police Academy. Additionally, when Kincaid was the police chief, I even participated in the Hispanic Police Academy as well too, and their senior citizens, teens, and all that stuff. Well, my question is, do you think it should be almost mandatory or suggested or encouraged that elected officials go through Citizen Police Academy?
Careful.
You can moonwalk if you want. Like
No,
Michael
no,
Jackson.
you know me, I don't moonwalk.
Put it on road.
Yeah, right. I'll defer to this. No. No, I mean, citizen police academies are awesome. I mean, the people, but one of the drawbacks to the Citizens Police Academy are, if you're signing up for the police academy, most people are want to know because they're fans of the police. You don't get the people who are anti-police. They don't want to know. The people who are anti-police don't want to know the truth, so they won't sign up. So if you have aldermen, board members, elected officials who, you know, you're forcing them to go through something they don't want to go. They have their own opinion, and nothing we do is going to change it. But I mean, I think it's obviously it's good. I mean, I would recommend anybody, and we always, for new board members, we have always said, come out to our place. We'll show you around. You can go on a ride along if you choose. And I'm
when you
sure
know
that,
better, you do better.
I'm sure that the other department heads would feel the same way. And I know the coroner does it. I know Jim Rowe, Sandy. I mean, Tom, anybody that Ed, I don't know if you want to go to the PD's office, but it's good to see what they do. I mean, and what the things that they struggle with. Everybody in this room, in their job struggles with something, and you know, there's struggles in everything we do, and you just try to make do, and the more you guys know, the better it is when you're making a decision.
Thank you.
Yep.
And after the tour, you get a ring pop when you leave.
We wouldn't open the door for you, Bones.
Anything else for the sheriff? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Up next to the coroner, in your package you have a copy of the coroner's monthly report and the monthly receipts of money. Take a motion to combine and approve. Mr. Eckhoff, second by Mr. Long. Good morning, sir.
Top of the morning. My name is Bob Gusser, and that's all I got.
Take a motion to. Comments on your report.
I'll go real quickly with mine. I don't have much time. Just to let you know, on a total number of calls, last year we had 1,389 calls in 2020. Right now we're at 1,365 right now with 20 days left. So it just kind of tells you that we're been hit with a lot of calls this year. Our autopsies are basically right around nine per month. We're a little up on the autopsies. Other than that, it's just your report here that tells you a little bit about everything what we do in our office, and the pending cases that we have are only at 8 right now. So other than that, I'll take any questions on that at all if you have anything.
Questions on the reports? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
A good thing right now, I have to knock on wood here, is our overdoses are kind of holding it same. We're still pending 3 right now. We're at 38 for the year, which is good, with 3 pending. Still the average age is at 44. And still the drug out there is fentanyl. I haven't been able to get out there as much as I want to get out there, or my staff, but we do a lot of talking throughout the county. And I think that's being a help to get out there to talk to people. I always, if I'm at lunch sometimes, I just shake the salt and pepper shaker, or the salt shaker a little bit, and say that's enough for lethal death of fentanyl right there. And people will listen to you and talk to you. And I think that's getting out and about. I know I'm going to be on the radio station here within today or tomorrow talking about the drugs in the county here. So other than that, that's about all I got to report there. I do get involved with teaching. I know, Mr. Garrico, I've been out to your place to teach out there before and enjoyed that. Be more than happy to come out anytime, update anything. Yes. And as far as Mr. Rowe, he can help me through my autopsies if he needs to. He ran out on me.
Mr. Hunter, you had a question?
Yeah, Bob, good job. I've personally been involved in stuff in my family. Kudos to you. Now, you mentioned that you're going to be on the radio, VLI or KN or whatever. Had you ever thought about cable 4, Comcast, in terms of reaching a better audience or more of an audience? In terms of like doing almost like an end service, okay, or a PSA, public service announcement. That may be something you want to consider too. Do they do? When we were kids, what do they call it? When all the students are there and then presentations are made.
Assemblies?
Yeah, that's what it is. Thanks. That's something back in the 60s. But do they still do that? Have special kind of things?
I've been to assemblies before, but not lately, no.
Yeah, okay. That was always kind of like Scared Straight, with, showing morbid car accidents and stuff like that. That sends a hell of a message to their...
Well, I know. We're hoping in 2023 we'll be able to get out. Watching our statistics of our COVID on our web page there, we're going down. So hopefully we can get out there. I appreciate your thoughts, and I did write down Channel 4. I'll get on there if I can. I just want to say also too is thank not only the health department and the other departments that help us through this Narcan. That's really, I was gone last week, and my chief deputy Eric back there told me that they had a lot of calls out there with Narcan saves. So I'm going to get up a figure on that of through the year 2021 at how many saves that there were out there from EMS and ambulances and out there. So I appreciate everybody that's doing a lot. I just want to let you know we're going to get back out there, and anybody who wants me to come and speak at any of the community sessions there, I'd be more than happy to. So I appreciate what we've done, and hopefully in the coming months I can get out there more. So,
Mr. Carrico first.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Bob, have you done any podcasts on drug prevention?
No. Have I been on?
Have you done any, or are you
No.
planning to do any podcast when it comes to drug
Well, we're
prevention?
planning on doing a little bit more stuff. I'm taking some ideas. I just got an idea here. If you got another idea, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay.
Because it's a problem out there. So
Yes, it is.
Mr. Snipes.
Thank you.
Bob, this might take some thinking, but during your time of observation in autopsies, have you seen anybody recover yet?
I just cut his mic off.
good. And I just gave him a good thing when he plays the piano there. Thanks, Rob.
Anything else for the coroner? Thank you.
I haven't seen you out there at any of the autopsies.
Is there any old business to come before the committee? Any old business? Any new business? Mr. Kirkstra?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Mr. Long, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Yeah.